Alright, so starting chapter 3, we're going to start with identifying pairs of lines and angles. So we're looking at these special relationships between different lines and different angles when they intersect. So starting with parallel lines. The definition of parallel lines are lines that do not intersect and are coplanar. Lines that do not intersect and are coplanar. Remember, that means on the same line. Now, if two lines are not parallel, that means that they're skew lines. So two lines are skew lines if they do not intersect and are not coplanar. So lines that do not intersect and are not coplanar. Okay, so you've probably been taught up to this point that parallel lines are just lines that do not touch. Now we are making a distinction. Parallel lines are lines that are on the same plane, like if you look here, you have M and N, which are on the same plane, and they do not touch. Those are parallel. Skew lines are like if you're looking at line L and line M. They don't touch or intersect, or N and L. They don't touch or intersect, but they're also not on the same plane, so we can call them skew lines. All right, parallel planes. Parallel planes are planes that do not intersect. Just a note here, segments and rays are parallel if they lie in parallel lines. So if you have a segment within a line and that's parallel to another segment within a line, then those two can be parallel. Same thing with rays. A line is parallel to a plane if the line is in a plane parallel to the given plane. So that's kind of getting into when you have two planes that are parallel to one another, what happens with those lines. Okay, our first example. Using the figure to the right, determine which lines or planes in the figure appear to fit the description. So we have lines parallel to line CD, which is right here, line CD, containing point A. So what lines do you see parallel to CD containing point A? Now remember, parallel means it has to be in the same plane. So let's focus on this plane right here. We're looking at kind of like the top of the box. So what line do you see that's parallel to CD while also being containing point A? We have this line right here. So we have A, B. All right, now we're looking for lines skew to CD and containing point A. Remember, skew means that they don't intersect, but they're not on the same plane. So we're no longer looking at the top of the box. Now we're looking at other planes. So it still needs to contain point A. So let's look at what lines contain point A. Well, we have AB, but that's on the same plane. So we already talked about that with parallel. We also have AH. Looks like AH would not intersect CD, which means it's skew. So AH. We also have AG. AG will never intersect with CD, but they're not on the same plane. So that makes them skew. AG. Finally, we have AD. Now, AD will eventually intersect line CD. In fact, it will happen at point D, so we can't say that they're skew. It's also on the same plane. So not only do they intersect, it's also on the same plane. All right, now let's look at lines perpendicular to CD containing point A. All right, remember perpendicular means make a right angle, meets at 90 degrees, so lines perpendicular to line CD containing point A. So it looks like the line perpendicular to CD here is this line right here. Does it contain point A? Sure does. So that means that here we have line A, D, or DA. Notice how with these I'm writing them with a little hat with no arrows. It's because we're working with segments. CD does have arrows, so that's why I'm using arrows when we're talking about CD, but with these segments I'm not going to put those little arrows on the end of their hats. All right, finally, planes parallel to plane EFG. So you have EFG. Those three lines make up a plane. So you want a plane parallel to that plane containing point A. So a plane parallel means that it's never going to intersect. So we have this plane. What plane do you see in this kind of cube-like figure that does not intersect with that plane? Well, each of the sides touching that plane won't work. So that means like this side won't work, this side won't work. Which part of a box never touches the bottom? Well, the top of a box, up here. And it also contains point A. So for that, we can say plane. Remember, when we name planes, we need 3 points unless given a name otherwise. We can name that plane ABC. You also could have named it plane ADC, ACB, DCB, lots of different names for that plane.